So, before this review today, I just looked at them online and apparently this is the 20th Bond film. What? Die Another Day. Die Another Day was released in 2002 and is directed by Tamarine Lee and stars Pierce Brosnan in his fourth and final outing as iconic character, James Bond. The film also stars Halle Berry, Rosamund Pike, Toby Stephens with Michael Madsen and Judi Dench. And basically, as per in the film, Bond is sent to investigate the connection between a North Korean terrorist and a diamond mogul who is funding the development of an international threatening big space weapon. And that's basically the plot of Die Another Day. And honestly, this Bond film is just absolutely terrible. It's such a terrible film, but it's not wholly unenjoyable. First of all, I'm going to talk about some of the things the film actually does right. There are actually some perks in this film, and I do actually think there are some things in the film which the film has going for it. For example, Pierce Brosnan as Bond in the film. He's great as Bond in his final performance. I mean, I do actually think it's his weakest of his fourth Bond performance. I mean, I always think his strongest performance is in Tomorrow Never Dies. I really enjoyed the performance in that film. So I'm not the biggest fan of The World Is Not Enough, or even GoldenEye. I mean, I don't like GoldenEye at all. I still really enjoyed the performance in those films, and I enjoyed the performance in this film as well. I mean, he is doing his weakest Bond performance, but I still enjoyed watching him in this film. I thought he was one of the best parts of this film, and at the same time though, by no means is he the best Bond portrayal. I just like watching the film. I thought it was really fun to watch. And at the same time though, I also enjoyed watching Judi Dench in this film as M. And I always like watching her in these Bond films, and I like seeing her in this film, especially in the scenes with Michael Madsen. I'm not really sure when Michael Madsen was in this film at all, but she was funny in those scenes. I quite enjoyed watching. At the same time though, the film does have some interesting moments in there. It's not completely awful. Like, there's one interesting moment in particular. The scene's constructed as if MI6 is under attack, but then you find out that it's a simulation, and Bond's put into a simulation by Q, the time played by John Cleese in this film. And I really liked that scene. It was really clever, because you actually thought MI6 was under attack, and then Q just popped out, you know, John Cleese's Q just popped out, and I was like, okay, oh no, MI6 isn't under attack, and that's a really good scene in my opinion, and that was really interesting to watch. And at the same time though, the film does have a really good musical score by David Arnold, which is kind of expected. David Arnold Bond scores are always really good, but I really loved his score for Tomorrow Never Dies, I really liked his score for The World Is Not Enough, and I really liked his score for this film as well. Honestly, he did a fantastic job scoring this film, he really did. And at the same time though, like I said, the film is enjoyable to a degree. I enjoy myself more in this film than I did in GoldenEye, which is something I, again, didn't expect to say. But again, whether I was enjoying myself for the wrong reasons, I don't know. But I did enjoy myself in some scenes of the film. And maybe that goes down to the musical score, I don't know. Every time you hear, you know, David Arnold's version of the Bond theme in the film, you know, da-da-ba-do-ba-do-do, it works really, really well. And I really like the musical score of the film, and that's probably kind of why I enjoyed it as well. I mean, there are some enjoyable moments in there. There's a whole fencing sequence that's actually quite enjoyable to watch between Gustav Graves, the big bad Bond villain in the film, who is played by Toby Stephens, who is truly not seen in every scene in the way, but I'm going to go on to that for you soon in the review. So there are some enjoyable moments in there. It's not completely unenjoyable, but at the same time though, it is just terrible. It's an absolutely terrible Bond film. It really is. Because there are so many big problems with this film. There honestly are. I could go on and on and on. But I'm just going to talk about some of the huge, major problems in this film. And believe me, there are a lot. Let's talk about the big twist in the film. Okay, spoilers here if you don't know anything about this film. Basically, Gustav Graves, played by Toby Stephens in the film. Oh my god, the twist of his character is like, wow. Like, basically, at the start of the film, Bond kills this North Korean terrorist in the opening scene of the film. And then you meet Gustav Graves later on in the film, played by Toby Stephens. And then you find out later on in the film that Gustav Graves is somehow the North Korean terrorist that Bond killed at the start of the film. There was some like face transplant thing that went on in the film. They didn't really fully explain it. I didn't really get it anyway. And I literally got to a twist in the film. I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievably racist. Like, oh my god, I can't believe that twist even existed in a Bond film. I mean, this Bond film was only made 19 years ago. It came out in 2002. This isn't a 60s Bond film. You know, you only live twice. You have Sean Connery Bond. He's made to look like Japanese at one stage. And you know, that was in the 60s. You're gonna go, oh, okay, it's a bit racist, but okay, that film came out in the 60s. You can kind of understand why. But then you get to this Bond film made in 2002, and then you have that twist. The North Korean terrorist who dies at the start of the film turns out to be this Darren Morgan, or Gustav Graves, played by Toby Stephens in the film. And you just get to the twist in the film, you just go, I'm sorry, what? They were kind of foreshadowing the twist in a couple of scenes, like the first thing you have between Gustav Graves and Pierce Brosnan's Bond in the film. You start saying at one stage, he can't be the North Korean terrorist. He can't be, because they kind of imply it there, but they don't fully say it. And then they imply it again later on in the film in another scene involving Gustav Graves, and you just kind of sit there and think, No, he can't be the villain. He can't be the North Korean terrorist which Bond killed at the start of the film. That wouldn't make any sense. And then he actually meets the dad of the North Korean terrorist who died at the start of the film at one stage, and he's just like, I am your son. And then he kills his own dad. Well, supposedly his own dad. It's all really complicated. Basically, he kills his North Korean terrorist dad. It doesn't really make any sense, and you just kind of sit there and go, I'm sorry, what? Like, that's the twist in the film. The North Korean terrorist who dies in the opening scene of the film turns out there's Diamond Mogul known as Gustav Graves by Toby Stephens film. And you just kind of sit there and go, I'm sorry, this film was made 19 years ago in 2002, and that's the twist. I'm not joking, that's the actual twist in the film, and you're just like, I'm sorry, what? And at the same time, no, I didn't really like Toby Stephens' Gustav Graves in the film. I'm going to talk about this again a bit later in this review, but honestly, everything is going to tune up the scenery, and not necessarily in a good way, but I'm going to go into that a bit later in this review. But let's continue with some of the other big points in the film. The visual effects. They look like they've come off a Game Boy. Like, not even an Xbox or a PS2 or PS3 or PS4, whatever. They look like they've come off a Game Boy. And you just sit there and go, wow, like, the visual effects in the film are awful. You might be sitting there and go, oh yeah, it was made in 2002 though. You know, visual effects weren't that good back then. I'm sorry, the Star Wars films came out in the late 1970s, the early 1980s. The visual effects in those films are pretty damn good. And even the Star Wars prequels, you know, say about the Star Wars prequels, obviously awful films. I'm quite a big fan of Revenge of the Sith, but obviously Attack of the Clones and The Phantom Menace are quite bad films. But Attack of the Clones came out in the same year as the film. And, you know, say about Attack of the Clones, again, bad film, but has got some superb visual effects, especially for the time it came out. And then you look at this film, and the visual effects, well, they come off a Game Boy! Like a Game Boy! Like you're watching and go, oh my god, the visual effects in this film are absolutely awful. They really are. There are a couple moments of the film where it's like, I'm not sure if that's meant to be an actual computer screen that the characters are looking at, or whether that's actually a visual effect in this film. It's just awful. It really is. And there's so many bad sequences in the film. We just have these terrible visual effects going on. And, you know, they didn't need to write these visual effects in. You know, people might be criticising me now going, oh, well, you know, the visual effects were in there because they want to do something different with the Bond franchise. Yeah, they did something different with the Bond franchise. They made me realise how bad the visual effects are for this franchise. Honestly, the visual effects are awful in this film. They look like they come out of a Game Boy. Not an Xbox, not a PS, whatever. A Game Boy. And it's just like, oh my god, the visual effects in the film are awful. And I mean, there's one scene which just shows you how bad it is. Like, literally, Bond gets away in this super fast car from the Big Bad Bond, you know, Gustav Graves gets away from the super fast car, and there's ice, but then he gets to this ice cliff, and then the car goes over, and he uses like a bit of metal from the car. I'm not joking, this is an actual scene in the film, and I'm trying to explain it as best as possible, although there's a very, very stupid scene in the film. Basically, he uses a bit of metal from this super fast car, and uses this glider to glide over the water, and onto an iceberg, and up the iceberg, and then back onto the icy land, where this big ice palace, where the whole third act of the film is taking place. Honestly, it sounds stupid. Imagine what it was like watching it in the film. Honestly, it was just terrible. Honestly, it was just so stupid. I was like, Jesus, was that an actual action sequence in a Bond film? Did Bond actually just glide up an iceberg? What? And he doesn't get harmed at all. And it just seems like that in the film, like, oh my god, this Bond film is awful. Like, the visual effects in the film are absolutely terrible. Like I said, they look like they're something out of a Game Boy. Not like an Xbox or not a PS, whatever, a Game Boy. And honestly, the visual effects in the film are absolutely terrible. Let's talk about another thing to this Bond film. The Bond song. It's absolutely awful. Die Another Day by Madonna makes you want to rip your ears out. Honestly, it's not a Bond song. It's a Madonna song. And I'm not a fan of Madonna, so maybe that's why I didn't like the song that much, but it's just awful. Honestly, it comes on, you're just like, is this seriously the Bond song for this film? Ooh, this is a bad Bond song. It just sounds like a 90s pop song, but then the film came out in 2002, which makes absolutely no sense at all. And you're just kind of watching it, they're going, I want to rip my ears out. This Bond song is absolutely awful. And they kind of do something different, the Bond song. Like, the Bond song actually plays over Pierce Brosnan being tortured by these North Korean terrorists, and that's actually something different to the film. I kind of liked it about it, and they did something different, the Bond song, but the Bond song of the film is just awful. It makes you want to rip your ears out. It's the worst Bond song I've heard. And then we want all the Bond songs, the Pierce Brosnan Bond songs, are bad. They just all are. Even the films are good, like Tomorrow Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough. Even if the Bond films are alright, all the Bond songs are rubbish in the Pierce Brosnan Bond era. They really are. I mean, they haven't really been that good for a long while in this Bond franchise, I must admit. And I'm hoping the Casino Royale Bond song is a lot better. But honestly, the song for this film is just terrible. Die Another Day by Madonna literally wants to make you rip your ears out. It is that bad. And at the same time, though, let's talk about the Bond girls in the film. Halle Berry, Rosamund Pike. Both good actors, in my opinion. Very good actors. Rosamund Pike, you know, Gone Girl, if you haven't watched the film, is absolutely brilliant. Her performance in Gone Girl is incredible. But the performance in the film, are just rubbish. And at the same time, though, every single female character in the film speaks through a sexual pun, and they all can't keep their hands on themselves. Literally, Pierce Brosnan's Bond is the perfect guy, and I get that Bond's meant to be the perfect guy and everything, but every single woman in this film can't keep their hands on themselves. Honestly, when they're around Bond, it's like, oh my god, Bond's so handsome, ooh, 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 ooh. And that's what it's like in the film, and it doesn't work. Like, every single female character in the film can't keep their hands on themselves, with the exception of M. I mean, that's just because Judi Dench actually has some sense in this film. Every other female character in the film can't keep their hands to himself, and it gets to the point where, like, seriously, can one Bond woman not think about sleeping with Bond? Because it's getting a bit annoying in this film. And at the same time, though, like I said, they all speak in sexual puns. The moment you meet Halle Berry's character, Bond says something to Halle Berry's character, like, oh, join the view, and she's like, oh, have I just ruined it? He says, oh, no, you haven't. And then they end up having an intimate scene in bed, and it's a really weird intimate scene and that, and it's just, oh my god, every single scene between Bond and the Bond woman in the film are just played as if it's sexual puns and everything, and it's just rubbish. There's one scene in particular involving Pierce Brosnan's Bond, Halle Berry's Bond girl, and Rosamund Pike's Bond girl, where Rosamund Pike comes in and says to Halle Berry, oh, has Bond been teaching you his Big Bang Theory? And then Halle Berry's Bond girl says, oh, I think I got the thrust of it. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, the dialogue in this film is awful. And at the same time, though, there are parts of this film that feel like a parody to the Bond franchise. Like, not in a good way, not like a pastiche or anything, a parody. I'm not even joking. It's a parody of its own franchise. Like, the actual moments in the film where there's the whole thing to do with the car in the film, but basically John Cleese's Q gets Bond an invisible car, and it's literally just using this plot device so Bond can move around the bad guys without them seeing him. And it's just like, I'm sorry, what? Like, he gets an invisible car, and the scenes in the film where he's just watching the bad guys, but because he's in an invisible car, they can't see him. He just kind of sit there like, oh no, not an invisible car. That's just awful. One thing I almost got to mention is Madonna has a cameo in this film, and like I said, the Madonna Bond song is awful in itself. So when Madonna actually pops up in the film in the fencing scene, it's like one giant wink to the audience, like, Madonna's in this film. Get it, people? Don't know that terrible Bond song you heard at the start of the film. Now Madonna, the person who sung that terrible Bond song, is in this film. Get it? It's a Madonna cameo, and it's like, oh no, and this is, oh my god. And at the same time, though, the fantasy scene between Pierce Brosnan's Bond and Gustav Graves' big bad Bond villain is just, it's enjoyable to watch. But there's one really weird line of dialogue when, oh my god, because Gustav Graves is this diamond mogul, he says to Pierce Brosnan's Bond, oh, diamonds aren't forever. You're just gonna go, oh no, don't start making puns of earlier Bond films, because it's not working. And on the topic of Gustav Graves, he's a terrible Bond villain. I didn't really like watching him at all, and honestly, he was really anticlimactic and a bit underwhelming as a Bond villain. I mean, Toby Seaman, like I said, is chewing up the scenery in every scene he's in, but not in a good way. You know, you can't have villains in films which are chewing up the scenery in a good way, like Pedro Pascal's character, Maxwell Lord in 11984. Not the biggest fan of 11984, but I really like Pedro Pascal's villain in that film. He's chewing up the scenery in every scene he's in, but it actually kind of works in that film. In this film, Gustav Graves is a big bad Bond villain. Toby Seaman's performance when he's chewing up the scenery in every scene he's in doesn't work at all. It's just, he's really not a good Bond villain. I just didn't really feel like threatened by him. At the same time, though, he's funding the development of this big international space weapon. And basically, this space weapon is, okay, spoilers again if you don't know anything about the film, spoilers again here. Basically, this big space weapon is the fact that they're going to use the sun, I'm not joking, the sun as a weapon. They're going to use the sun as a weapon to blow up the Earth or something. And I know Bond films are stupid, but this film's taking stupidity in a Bond film to another level. Like, oh my god. Oh, you just kind of sit there and go, really? Using the sun as a weapon? And then when they actually use the sun as a weapon, they're using this big ice line and everything, and it's making a hole in the ice. It's not doing anything to the ice around it, it's just making a hole in the ice. And just kind of sit there and go, right, I'm not into science, but I know that wouldn't happen if somebody, you know, used the sun as a weapon on ice. All the ice wouldn't melt around it, and the ice isn't doing anything. And it doesn't make any sense. They want to use the sun as a weapon. Come on. I mean, I know the Bond films are all stupid at this point in the franchise. I know they're all stupid. In the last Bond film, Robert Carlyle's Bond villain wanted to blow up Europe. In the Bond film before that, Jonathan Pryce's Bond villain wanted to ignite a war between the UK and China and get complete media control over the world. Yeah, they're all a bit silly, but this Bond film is taking stupidity to another level. Like, he wants to use the sun as a weapon? I'm sorry, what? And then when he actually uses the sun as a weapon, it's awful. It really is. And at the same time, though, the whole third act of the film is just terrible. It really is. Like, the first act of the film isn't actually that bad. I mean, like I said, there are some moments of dialogue in the film which are honestly quite bad, but it's not bad, the first act of the film. I actually kind of enjoyed myself. In the second act of the film, I enjoyed myself a bit, but not that much. In the third act of the film, I started laughing at it. It was that stupid. I think I actually enjoyed the third act of the film for the wrong reasons. Honestly, there was things going on in the third act of the film which were unbelievably stupid. I just kind of started going, really? 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 Oh my god, this is so bad. There's a whole final fight between Pierce Brosnan's Bond and Gustav Graves, you know, Toby Stephens' character, and at the same time another final fight between Rosamund Pike's Bond girl and Halle Berry's Bond girl, which is just terrible. Honestly, the fights between those characters are just so anticlimactic. Like, literally, in the final of the film, in the final fight between Halle Berry's Bond girl and Rosamund Pike's Bond girl, Rosamund Pike looks like she just walked off the set of Tomb Raider, and she fired Halle Berry's Bond girl, who has to appear, you know, in a bikini at that stage. I'm like, oh, what was the point in that? And at the same time, the fight between Pierce Brosnan's Bond and the big bad Bond of the film, you know, Gustav Graves, is so anticlimactic, because in these fight scenes, they wouldn't be so bad if the camera would stay still. The camera doesn't stay still, and I get the planes meant to be falling from the sky and everything, and the planes might be plummeting in the sky. Seriously, the camera wouldn't stay still. Whoa, 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 whoa. The camera kept moving around. The point was like, whoa, where's the sequence going? It was just so poorly directed. And then, basically, long story short, Halle Berry's Bond girl and Pierce Brosnan's Bond managed to get away, and basically, long story short, they end up in a hut in the middle of nowhere. There's no explanation how they got there, and they show an intimate scene at the end of the film. And that's how the 20th Bond film ends. That's one thing I haven't even mentioned yet. This is the 20th Bond film. What? This is the 20th Bond film. That's how it all ends. That's the film. You have that terrible twist with the North Korean terrorist who turns out to be Gustav Graves, or the other way around, or something like that, and it's just terrible and it's racist, and I can't believe it was made 19 years ago, and you know, you're sitting there going, really? This one was made in 2002? Wow. At the same time, though, the visual effects in the film were awful. At the same time, though, Halle Berry's Bond girl and Rosamund Pike's Bond girl are terrible. They can speak through sexual puns throughout the film. At the same time, though, their performances are quite bad in the film. Like, those two are good actors. I really like them. I mean, I really like Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl. She's superb in that film. The performances they're giving in this film are terrible. And at the same time, though, the Madonna Bond song, don't even get me started in that, and just so many other big problems of this film. I haven't even touched on it. There's so many other big problems as well. And honestly, this was a 20th Bond film. You just kind of sit there and go, wow, really? Like, oh my god. But there are moments in the film where it feels like a parody of its own franchise. Not a pastiche where it's a parody, but it's kind of a fun parody, it's a knowing parody, and it's kind of honouring the whole Bond franchise. No, it feels like a parody and not a good one. It feels close to like a Johnny English film. And again, not in a good way. The whole Invisible Car, I'm sorry, what? And it's just things like that which don't work. And at the same time, though, there's this one really weird scene involving Moneypenny towards the end of the film, and oh my god, basically she uses the simulation which Q created earlier in the film, the whole thing where MI6 might be under attack earlier in the film, and she uses the simulations herself to pretend that she's having sex with Bond. It's such a weird scene. And then when you watch it and it plays out, you're like, really? What significance did that have to the rest of the film? What scene did that significance have to the rest of the film? And the answer is none. Honestly, you just kind of sit there and go, why am I watching Moneypenny pretend to have sex with Bond? What? And it's just so many of the big problems about the film. And honestly, like I said, it's enjoyable, but maybe not for the right reasons. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not a boring Bond film. I enjoy myself watching the film, maybe not for the right reasons, like I said, but I enjoyed myself watching it. I took a couple moments in the film where I actually laughed at what was going on in the film. Like, I didn't understand the point of what was going on. I didn't really understand how this film could be that bad. At the same time, though, Michael Madsen in the film, great actor, loving Reservoir Dogs. Why is he in this film? Why is he in this film? We haven't met him in a previous Pierce Brosnan Bond film, so why is he in this film? There's no explanation of that, and it just kind of pops him as like, why are you here? And he had to listen to Judi Dench, and you know, Judi Dench is good in the film, and we like Judi Dench I've talked about this before already, but when you have Michael Madsen in this film, it's just like, why are you in this film? We haven't previously met you before, who were you meant to be playing? I never really got that, I never really properly explained in the film, and so, there's so many problems with the film, so many things I haven't even mentioned. The film is like really messy as well, and it's really stupid, and it pretends that it has a plot, but the thing is, it doesn't really, like, I just took the plot synopsis of IMDb, because honestly, there isn't really a plot in this film. It pretends that it does have a plot. There are actual moments when they talk about a plot, I couldn't really find it in there, but there are actually some moments where they talk about a plot, but there's no plot in this film, and it's things like that which just don't work about Die Another Day. Honestly, it's just terrible, but not completely unenjoyable, I must admit. Honestly, it's got so many big problems. The visual effects, the twist, the Bond girls in this film, the Bond villain, the Invisible Car, the Bond song, Madonna popping as a cameo, it's like one giant wink to the audience. But get it? The person who sung that terrible Bond song from the start of the film, she's back here, get it? It's Madonna in this Bond film. It's things like that which really get on my nerves. And at the same time, though, the whole finale of the film is unbelievably stupid. And every single character in the film speaks through puns and sexual puns and just things like that which don't work in the film. It's absolutely terrible, but not completely unenjoyable. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Die Another Day, one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had watching a film, but I'm going to say that it's a 2.5 out of 10. Honestly, this Bond film does have perks. I'm not going to say it's completely terrible. I liked Pierce Brosnan's Bond in the film. I liked his performance as Bond. Actually, one moment in the film where he looked a bit like Jesus, and I thought like, yep, you're the savior from this film. You actually might be a good part about the film. You know what? I'm fine with that. At the same time though, I quite like the score by David Arnold, which worked really well. Like hearing that Bond theme from David Arnold always makes me smile in a Bond film, you know, duh. When you hear that in a Bond film, and it's David Arnold's Bond score as well, like, yes, now watching a Bond film, and it did kind of feel like that in the film, even if it did feel like a parody on some stages. And at the same time though, I also enjoyed that scene involving John Cleese's Q in the film, but the whole scene where you think MI6 is actually under attack, then it turns out to be a simulation, great scene in the film. And there are some other parts of the film as well, like it is really enjoyable to watch, the defensive scene, really enjoyable, the opening scene, clear use of the green screen, but it's a fun opening scene, and there are some really enjoyable moments in the film, again, maybe not for the right reasons, but there are some enjoyable moments in the film. But for the 20th Bond film, you want it to be a bit better. Just a tad bit better. And honestly, it's absolutely terrible. It really is. It was just one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had watching a film. Because it is terrible, but it is kind of enjoyable at the same time. I will admit that. And that's actually why I kind of like it a bit more than GoldenEye. And so, it's terrible, but not completely unenjoyable. And that's what I'm going to take from Die Another Day. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Die Another Day is a 2.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Die Another Day? Please leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, I'm still watching a review of the Bond films right now, so I'll find the next Bond film review, which is Casino Royale, then quick first, coming very soon on this channel. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching. If you haven't yet, please do click down below and like subscribe on the video, and look forward to many more both film and TV reviews coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!